Well, now on to a modern take on a literary classic. Little Women is playing now at Seattle Rep, and this morning we're getting an up-close look at the spectacular costumes and how they help tell this incredible story. Now, joining me now is the costume designer, Nova Dorbev. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. This is really exciting to show.
This is so exciting. You were kind of showing me a little bit before we started rolling, but I cannot wait to share with everyone because Louisa May Alcott's novel, I mean, it is a classic that we all know so well, but the costuming for it has to be kind of modernized, right, to help with the quick changes. So let's talk about what is different with this version here at the Seattle Rep.
Yeah, so actually the designer is Anne-Lynn Dauber, and what I do is oversee the build and the budget and kind of how it all actually gets on the stage.
Oh, okay, the big picture.
Yeah, kind of the zoom out stuff. But what I brought for you today are some of the really extra fun pieces that we built here at the Seattle Rep, and I think they kind of help tell the story. It's a classic tale, and it's set in the 1860s, and that's kind of unavoidable. But what we have to do instead is find a way of making all these super fast transitions happen live and on stage. So there's some fun quick rigging and some hidden gems and kind of theater magic that not everyone gets to see.
And I like the way you don't say, you say build. We're not making, we're building this because it really is so much part of the infrastructure of this play.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the play. There are a lot of differences. Again, even though it is the classic, you have modernized it with kind of the way the characters are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The cast is more diverse and more representative of our current population.
Yeah.
And I know that it's been resonating with audiences really well, especially younger audiences.
Let's look at some of the pieces and kind of talk about that same vein. You were showing me Joe's jacket and telling me why it's so significant to our character.
Yeah, so this is the main character, Joe, who is an avid writer and is so passionate about just being taken seriously and as a writer, which it translates, I think, in the world of 1860 to wanting to be seen like a man or have the opportunities men have as opposed to the limitations of being a woman. So at some point she dons men's clothing. This is in Act 2, and we built this beautiful frock coat for her. At the time, men wore frock coats, which have kind of a waistline and then sort of almost like a skirt, kind of a cutaway sort of look to them. This is special because there's a beautiful little double dart detail right in the front, and that was really only on women's wear in 1860s. There's another great piece that I brought. This is Amy's Act 2 bodice, and we built this for her. There's a double dart in the front. As you can see, it's this classic 19th century bodice.
So sweet.
With a little fiddle back seam in the back. This is like quintessential period for the time. But it's that juxtaposition of marrying that kind of classic female style with a menswear piece that makes this jacket super special. This is also some really gorgeous wool we bought from London and had imported in.
And I really appreciate how the twists on what you're doing with the characters really impact the designs.
Yeah, we also actually gave Joe a very special one-side-only pocket just for her notebook. It's built perfectly to the size of that notebook for her prop on stage to always have her writing with her. So
you all move so fast at the Seattle Rep. I know that you have to be working on a deadline, and like you said, you're overseeing the budget. How long does it take to make these things?
Well, we are limited by time. Actually, the schedule's given to us, and then we have to figure out how to kind of make everything within that time frame. So the actors have about 4 or 5 weeks to rehearse, and that's our go time. Because our work is body dependent, we need the actors to be able to do what we do. We have to wait until they get there. Then we have a couple rounds of fittings with them with muslin mock-ups, and then eventually cutting into the fashion, which means the actual
fabric. Okay, you mentioned that you only have a certain amount of time, and I understand you actually brought some things out of deep in the storage.
Yeah, this is a really special, it's actually a 3-piece suit, but I only brought the jacket and the vest today. This is from deep in the archives of Seattle Rep stock. Because we don't have the time and the budget to build everything, even though we really want to, we use a lot of our own pre-existing stock. So this is something that Seattle Rep's costume shop built many years ago and still is downstairs in our stock and in our storage.
So beautiful. And you were pointing out to me that this is all hand stitched.
This is all hand stitched. This is like extremely special. This is a hand done buttonhole, and every single buttonhole on this entire ensemble is hand done. This is like absolutely bananas. No one does this anymore. It's all by machine now.
So beautiful. And you don't even know when this came from.
I have no clue. I don't even know what show this was for. I asked our stock manager and she couldn't remember.
Wow, it's beautiful. All right, you were showing Amy's beautiful outfit. Let's look at what we have here. We have Amy here.
We have Amy
in person. Come on out. This is actually Rebecca, and you play Amy, and this is one of your costumes. Which costume is this?
This is my Act 1 costume, which is when I am a little girl, although Amy would say very ferociously that she is not a little girl.
Of course not. How does this costume make you feel? How does it help you get into character?
Oh, I love this costume. Clearly, I'm an adult playing a child in Act 1 before we age up a little bit. And so as soon as I put this on, I'm an actor who feels very informed by the costumes. And I was like, this short skirt, I'm already like feeling the little childlike, youthful energy. So it informs so much.
I think it's so great. We have a photo, I think, of you in one of your more adult costumes.
Which is
that
here
is
on
the
the
yellow,
right.
right there.
It's right here.
I
This
love
is
that
her little
costume.
outfit.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And is it so fun to wear these?
Oh, I love wearing that one especially. That's my Jane from Tarzan look, I've been told.
It does.
I know, right? I just watched that the other night, too. But that corset, the way it makes you feel and the way it changes my posture and positioning, I totally feel like a completely different person.
This is a serious corset, right?
This is a serious corset. We actually gave the actors their corsets to use in rehearsal for the 4 weeks that you were rehearsing.
Oh, that would help because you gotta learn
this
to
actually
breathe.
informs a lot of how you move, right?
It does.
Do you want to talk about what restriction means when you're trying to do whatever you want?
Well, like Nova was saying, like the traditional, the costumes are more traditional because the script is so full of modern nuance and queerness and historical relevancy with today's world. And so when I put on this corset, it's the restriction adds so much to the characterization, and we are fighting against this patriarchy in this world, and wearing that corset. You feel, and corsets are really just old bras, so it's not like a tool of the patriarchy, but like it does, you do feel those limitations.
No, but will you show everyone, because this isn't this is, you said actual steel?
Yeah, so this is flat steel boning in here, which is hard to see because it's in a casing, but there's actual steel on all of the plates of this, and there's a nice little seam for the waistline, and then these are called cookies, these little things right here, those cookies are sewn in.
Okay, were these called cookies back then?
I don't know, maybe they were called biscuits.
I don't know, but do you see this? See, I always wondered.
I know, they're there, and it's just a little lift.
Just a little lift.
And every woman ever has had cookies in her corset. We just don't talk about it. The corset is not the only layer, people. There's more happening in there. And then on the top, this is another little, again, theater magic fun fact. We have a little extra tie right here along the top to help snug that up to Rebecca's body so that it's nice and snug next to her.
I have cookies in my corset right now.
I know.
Really quickly, we're about out of time, but I know that because of the quick changes that happen, I wanted you to show how you've engineered that for some things. This is a traditional piece that someone would wear.
This is such a beautiful dress. This is for Meg, who's the oldest sister, and she goes to the ball, and the family doesn't have tons of money, right? So it's kind of supposed to be sort of a middle class, lower middle class look. This beautiful lace piece on top is called a fichu, and this is something that you would add to your look to maybe be more fabulous if you're going out and having a great time. But we have a super fast change in and out of this look. So if you zoom in, if you wish, you can see there's little metal hooks right here. This is for a shirt that goes over this whole look, that conceals the top so that it looks like she's in a very casual blouse and her casual skirt at home. The blouse gets ripped away, it gets unhooked quickly, ripped away, and then we see this fichu moment. Then it changes again in where another character on stage quickly takes this off and reveals a little décolletage to be a little more risque.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't get to all the costumes, like what in the world is this? But you're just gonna have to go to the play and see it, and don't miss Little Women at the Seattle Rep. It is playing now through December 17th. What a great holiday tradition to take your girls, your whole family, all of you to see it.